today's show, Lamborghini Gallardo wheel by Atomic, Steadiplay Wheelstand, and top sim cars.
This show is sponsored by Sim Raceway.
We interrupt this episode for our RSC News Flash, sponsored by RaceSimCentral.com. News and forums since 2000. iRacing is on schedule to deliver a new build during the Week 13 off-season next week. Headlining the build is the Sims debut of night racing. Now drivers will be able to compete at Richmond at night. Driving on cold tires under the shadows of night are going to test drivers to a new level. Also included in the new build is a facelift to the website and interface, making it both more intuitive and faster loading. Looking deeper into the website changes, we see features like the ability to see how many people are online racing and how many of your friends are online at any time. You will now be able to look up your friends and see exactly where they are racing right now. Another big change will be the ability to watch live races with Spectator mode. On the driving side of the sim, there have been updates to the damage model, as well as a realistic transmission model being added to the sim. There are a few other changes coming in this update, making it one of the biggest updates to iRacing since its release. Before we return to our normal programming, I leave you with Night Racing at Richmond, compliments of iRacing.
Welcome to Inside Sim Racing. I'm Jessica Lopez. This is Darren Ganji.
Hey everybody.
And it's our 74th episode, and we have a lot of cool stuff on today's show.
Indeed.
On the hardware side, we have this Lamborghini wheel by Atomic.
That's right. Saw it at E3, and a glass case pretty much is, we didn't even get to try it.
Now it's here.
Yep.
We also have this Wheelstand by Steadiplay.
Yes, indeed.
You want to say anything about the Wheelstand?
It's steady. And we're reviewing it.
Okay. Starting off with top sim cars, and we actually have our 49th and 50th car today. And
Gonna have bump time.
Yep, starting next episode, we're
That's right.
bumping cars off the list because we're topping the list off at 50. Once we get to 51 on the next episode, we'll start bumping cars off.
Looks like VHR Truck is gonna get the can next week.
So here you go, top sim cars, sponsored by simraceway.com.
The home of online racing.
This is going to do it. This is going to finally fill in the top 50 top sim cars. And
Pretty exciting.
Yeah, it is. We're never going to have a 51st car.
No.
So from now on, any car comes in, hopefully it'll knock something off the list.
Not hopefully for the car that's there, but hopefully for the car that comes in, yeah.
So today we're going back in time a little bit. We're going to the F1 cars, 1971 Tyrrell. I'm not sure exactly. So
I call it Tyrrell.
Tyrrell? So
who's right?
Please answer
Not that
that
it matters.
question.
We're not competing. We're just curious. We're not sure how it's pronounced, and we always mispronounce stuff. So help us out. How is it pronounced, guys? Put it in our comments down on YouTube here. Let us know. And just, Ty or, T-I, whatever.
Anyway, please.
So please help us out.
The Tyrrell, and it's made by
The F1 Classics mod team.
And this is one of those
Combination of guys.
Yeah, and you got a whole group behind it, and you've got a whole bunch of cars in this. It's not just the Tyrrell.
It was really tough for us to pick one, especially when you got Ferrari, Lotus. What else we got? We got a Penske Racing, a BRM. Actually, I can kind of cycle through them here while we're just sitting here.
All of them are gorgeous. I understand the
They are
conversions.
gorgeous.
We're not 100% sure from what, but it doesn't matter because if you go to R Factor Central, you can check it out for yourself. Actually, you can click on their website and go see what they have to say about it there as well. But the important thing is, this is one of the finest models I've seen. When I say models, I'm talking visual. Just in the car and out of the car. Just amazing.
Now, I'm probably going to misquote this, but well, I know it's one of the only one that has the arms and hands showing in R Factor.
Which is a huge upgrade. I forget how much I appreciate that in a sim when I'm doing an in-car view and I have the steering wheel turned on. And those are done very well as well. The cockpits are authentic. You're going to feel like you're in the car. The sounds are actually very good as well. Not the best in the world, but very good. They match the cars very well.
Yeah, there was a few little misses, I thought, like just transition from idle to RPM, but sounds were great. I think as far as the ones that they chose, I think they did a great job. Again, the models, though, you probably talked about it, just amazing.
It is, it is. Now, one thing you mentioned the word misses, something they missed a little bit. The physics have something to be desired. They're drivable, they're good physics, but definitely not great. It is a new model, so hopefully they're looking for some feedback. So I'm going to encourage people who like giving input on mods, download it, check it out, get back to them and say, hey, this is what I think. Now, personally, I think it had a little bit of front-end washout. It had a little bit of funny grip off track.
Yeah, there's definitely something with the tire model that's off that we noticed. Sean noticed it first, really. I didn't pick it up at first, but because we weren't really pushing it. But I went off course too earlier and got in some heavy sand, and the tires just stopped. Actually, started spinning backwards, which was a little odd.
And Eastern Creek is really vicious on the sand, so it's going to test that kind of thing better than those tracks as well. And we tried another same sort of thing. But again, it's such a great, hopeful mod. This, I mean, with a generation or two of physics updates, I could see this being a favorite amongst a lot of people.
Yep, I agree.
So why don't I get to some scores?
Sounds good.
Physics, 15.25 out of 20. Sounds, 12.75 out of 15. Models, 9.75 out of 10. Cockpit, 9.25 out of 10. Fun factor, 8 out of 10. Immersive, 8 out of 10. Force feedback realism, 7.75 out of 10. Damage, 5 out of 5. Skins, 5 out of 5. And the default set, 3.75 out of 5. Giving it a total of 84.5, which is going to tie it for 33rd on the list with the Richard Burns Subaru and the Super League Formula.
Yeah, and this, my final thoughts on this car, you know what, or this mod, like Sean said too, some physics upgrades to it, and you're going to have a top sim car here. You know, great job, best models and cockpits just about in all of R Factor. I mean, you guys did an incredible job of modeling these things. You know, it's got good force feedback, pretty solid, but you know, it's just that physics, and I don't know, I would imagine it's pretty tough to model a 71 car without any real input or data to go from, but...
Yeah, but getting feedback from the community could help it a long way. And just to point things out, if it got a physics upgrade, that's going to bring fun factor, immersive, and force feedback realism with it. I mean, honestly, all of those are a little bit tied together. So I could see this really improving the scores. I don't know when we'll rescore it, but I'm going to encourage them to improve the physics and make it one of the best mods ever.
Yep.
So that's going to do it for the F171 Tyrrell by F1 Classic Mod Team.
Actually, one more thing I want to say about it too. This, I'm imagining, is going to be an R Factor 2. So imagine what this thing's going to look like in R Factor 2, and plenty of time to get the physics right. So
absolutely.
Good job, guys.
All right, good job.
All right, we're going back old school now with GTR 2, which was out around 2004, 2005.
A long time ago.
Probably one of the oldest titles that are on the top sim car list.
Still a recommended game, though, or sim.
No doubt about it. And speaking of which, some great racing's going on with this title still. My buddy Chris Moses, known him for a long time, actually used to race with him. He and against him actually was like a friggin' alien in GPL.
Absolutely.
He has tweaked the physics of this car. It's a GTR 2 model, original model, which is beautifully done.
One of the best.
And he's, you know, definitely can't take credit for that. But he has redone the physics on this car. So really the only way to get it is to be part of his series. And he gave us a link to the car pack.
But he sure took GTR 2 to a new level. I mean, as far as I tell you about this car.
And as far as this racing series goes, I mean, he's got you know, we're going to tell you about it in a race report after Top Sim Cars, but 31 car field,
Right.
you know, in GTR2, running in a great series, and they got a couple other series runs. All right, and so if you're wondering what car we picked, we went with the Celine S7-R, which is just a beast. Actually, we have a little history with this car.
Yeah, and actually this is redemption for this car, because you and I spent one of the most miserable racing seasons of our careers on different teams, but unfortunately both of us drew this car.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
So, but it's a beast.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell them, speaking of beast, Sean's going to give you guys some specs on this car, and it is just
This car's insane.
all
It's
horsepower.
a 7-liter V8, 2-valve V8 Ford. It's producing 623 horsepower, or this is the biggie though, 785 pounds of torque.
That's crazy.
Incredible.
Tire shredding.
It weighs 1,210 kilograms, which I haven't converted to English,
Pounds.
but that's a ton. The thing weighs way too much to be a race car.
Yep.
But it does corner grade. I mean, it's powerful and heavy and
not so good on the braking, but you know what? I believe Chris has done a good job of modeling this car, or taking this, you know, what GTR2 started to the next level.
well, I'm going to start driving this thing. So
All right, I'll tell you a little bit more about what we thought about it. So, across the board, this car was just very nicely done. You know, even back from Simbin, models, cockpits. You know, this is another one that's got the hands. The sounds are incredible. I mean, this thing sounds like a 7-liter thumping V8.
the sounds suck you in, and I mean that's one of the first steps of a great mod or sim even. But it's critical to have great sounds.
Yep, I agree. And the models, again, are incredible. Fun factor, I'm just going to roll off the scores here, and then we'll finish things up. Physics, 17.5. Sounds, 14.25. Models, 9.5. Cockpit, 9.5. Fun factor, 9.25. Immersive, 9.5. Force feedback realism, 8.75. Damage, 5. Skins, 5. And default set, 5. For a grand total of 93.25, and it puts it 3 on the list.
Ooh, wow. I would never have guessed GTR2 getting up there, but you know what? This is fun. This is, I mean, the models and the interior can rival anything out there.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the last 3 categories, 5 across the boards, you know, in damage, skins, and default. Damage, fire. Love the fire. The fire was even coming out of, it's a mid-engine 7-liter Ford. The fire was coming out of the middle of the car, which was awesome. So just an incredible job done by Simbin, by Chris Moses on the physics. By the way, Chris, just want to let you know that 17.5, I gave you an 18. Homie here gave you a 17, so you can talk to him about the 17.5. I gave you an 18. I thought it was great. But that's going to do it for top simulation cars of all time. Now that's top 50, all intact. That VHR truck's still down there at the bottom, lingering, holding on by a thread. That thing's gone.
Oh, poor truck.
Because I already know what the next week's car is. Do I? No, I don't actually. But anyway, that's going to do it for top simulation cars of all time, sponsored by simraceway.com. And now we're going to head into a little post-race report from NAGP, the North American GP Series, that the guys over there had sent me. I did the voiceover for, added some music to, but they sent me some footage and basically the write-up talking about their series. Check them out if you want to do some GTR2 racing. Man, I'm tempted. They got, you know, car lottos, drafts, all sorts of really cool stuff going on over there. So here's a little bit about North American GP. The NAGP Thursday GT1 Series headed to northern Italy to the famed Monza circuit to contest round 4 of the Season 12 Championship. Chris Moses would lead a 31-car field away from pole position to another fast, clean, standing start. John Sportelli, behind the wheel of his red Ferrari F550, would take the lead on lap 4 and hold it until the pit stops at the midway point of the event. Al Merriman, driving the Viper GTS-R, would gamble on double stinting tires. The gamble paid off as he came out of the pits in front of John and Chris, but his advantage was short-lived as he quickly faded back to his final finishing position of 4th. race win was decided on lap 30 when John Sportelli ran up on the lap Aston Martin of Scott Andrew and lost control exiting the Ascari chicane. He then slipped to a third place finish. Chris Moses would go on to pilot his Saleen S7R to a comfortable first place, a fourth different winner in as many races this season. Rich Roman would come in second, but is on top of the driver's standings after 4 of 10 rounds with 73 points. Chris Moses follows him in second with 69 points, followed by Kudry, Petro, and Mers. To check out more racing in NAGP with GTR2 and Race On, go to NorthAmericanGP.com. Feel your sim racing experience come to life with the Butt Kicker Gamer 2 by Githammer. To enhance your F1 2010 experience, you can get $10 off a Gamer 2 now by going to InsideSimRacing.tv and clicking on the Butt Kicker banner to take advantage of this offer. Live the game and feel the music with a Butt Kicker Gamer 2 for $119.99. Only at InsideSimRacing.tv. Does not include shipping and handling. Offer ends October 31st, 2010.
Next up, we have this wheel stand by Steadiplay called Steadiplay on for review.
Yep.
And it retails for $360, which is pretty pricey US.
Probably the most expensive piece in this market, you know, as far as wheel stands go. Heard from a guy named Peter from Woodhaven was the original company. And he sent me an email back in May asking, you know, if we would review the stand. And told him, yeah, sure, we'd love to take a look at it. Sent me a little video of like a CAD drawing showing what it looked like. And I was honestly expecting metal.
It does look like metal, and it is made out of wood. Looks like it has a matte finish.
It's got like a coating on it. And it's actually an MDF, which is particle board, or like a really dense particle board, which is actually wood too. So
It's really heavy. It's about 30 pounds.
it is. It's steady and sturdy.
Steadiplay.
Sturdy play,
And,
sturdy play.
you know, Steadiplay.
Steady play, no, you were right. I called it sturdy play.
It is steady and it is sturdy. And I would say it's somewhere in between a wheel stand and a sim rig. When I seen Darren testing it out last week, I noticed that it looked like he was sitting at a desk or pulling into a desk. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, and one of the first things I felt when I, you know, or noticed when I pulled into it to play was, or to drive, was that nothing was touching me. And it's so spread out and so wide that, you know, you feel like you're getting into a rig. So
all right, well, more
cool.
on Steadiplay. Sean and Darren did a piece and put it together. They're going to review it. So here it is.
All right, well, here we are with the Steadiplay wheel stand. And you can get it at steadiplay.com with an I. $359.99, free shipping, continental U.S. And this is, and again, some of the things already said by Jessica and myself before we went into this, but MDF, CNC machined, and it's got like a coating. What would you say this coating is, Sean?
Well, like you said, MDF, so some kind of wood, and I think it's a laminate that they put on it that, well, I don't see any seams, so it must be painted on.
Yeah.
It's like a rhino lining almost, like you get in your truck.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I would relate it to.
Very tough feeling. I mean, it doesn't feel like wood, so we've said MDF so that people know and aren't misled, but we've all been confusing it for metal over and over again.
It's got one of the things we talk about most on rigs. Knobs.
Knobs. Gotta love knobs. This one has more knobs than any rig that we've ever tested.
Yep. Also has the only metal that's really on it. Well, it's all the hardware pieces, but it's also got 2 profile tubing rails at the bottom for stability, and it's got some rubber pieces on the bottom of that.
Little feet, adjustable feet.
Yep. And the plastic plate that you can attach the wheels to. Which,
very plastic.
Yeah, very thick plastic, which I thought was really cool because it's drilled out for Fanatic wheels, Logitech, and you can even mount a Microsoft 360 wheel on this too.
Yeah, and like you said, pre-drilled, so I mean, I can't think of any rig we've tested yet that actually just took Logitech and Fanatic wheels just like that.
Yep. And this, everything, almost every piece, this deck, you know, we always talk about adjustability on the wheel deck and stuff. These arms, everything is fully adjustable on this thing. So you can adjust the rake of the whole stand as far as how it goes up and down. You can adjust the rake of the deck. It's got holes, you know, for mounting other stuff. So
anything. I mean, anything you can imagine or want to mount in this type of fashion, it's pretty capable.
And then the width. This thing is the widest wheel stand we've had. I mean, we can't even really. I mean, this is borderline rig. This is not even like really a wheel stand.
We need to create a whole new class of stand. I mean, no center post to deal with. No, I mean, the way it adjusts is completely unique to this stand alone, really.
As far as it not being like a wheel stand, for an example, yesterday we had Warren here with us, and he ran a race, 14-lap race in the Skippy yesterday, and he's like, I wasn't even thinking about it. He's like, the thing was solid as could be, and I've run a ton of laps with it. Sean has, and it's a really solid rig, and it gets you pretty much in any position you want to be, in any type of chair you want to sit in.
Yeah, and whether you call it a sim rig or a wheel stand, any rig we've ever tested, I cannot think of one that we put through more scenarios of driving position or different types of chair or whatever to sit on or even stand, and it just every single configuration.
All right, so let's get to the pros and cons. Pros, wide, definitely wide. Oh, one real
wide.
quick before the pros and cons. I want to say Club Sport pedals, any pedals are going to fit in this base, which is really cool.
I'll say one more. Well, I'll save this till the pros and cons.
Okay. So pros, wide. It's definitely the widest wheel stand we've had. Sturdy. It's definitely a sturdy stand.
Yeah, comparing it to other wheel stands.
Yep. Most adjustable. Feels like a cockpit or a rig. Compatibility, because you can run any wheel on it.
Absolutely.
And then compactability. As big as this thing is, it folds down pretty good. I mean, you just loosen up all the knobs, and get the wheel to drop down, and then fold this to meet up with the base.
Swing the wheel all the way around.
Yep,
I mean,
and
whatever it takes.
Compacts pretty good, and definitely can fit in a closet.
Yeah.
So, compactability, and then why don't you any more pros?
For me, again, I'm going to reiterate the adjustability. I mean, that's the thing I think that just surprised me over and over again. The other pro, like you mentioned, well, it's made of wood. It's going to be really easy if we did have some rare wheel that didn't exist yet to be able to drill some holes if we needed to.
Yep.
I mean, it's not going to be as sturdy as, say, metal, but being able to just have that, I like that. It makes it easy to adapt it to anything.
I agree there. And then, so let's get to the cons. A little bit of a wobble. I mean, just holding it here, you can see we have it here. But I honestly didn't even notice it when driving.
Yeah.
And you know what? I started really thinking about this. There is not one rig that I have driven in that doesn't have some kind of wobble. And then the cost, $359, is a tad expensive.
Yeah.
But you know what? You get what you pay for. Considering stuff in the same price range, it's not bad. Maybe at $299 shipped to your door. I think it would have been. Cost wouldn't have been an issue, I think, at that point.
Yeah, yeah. Well, for me, the other thing is, and this is a concern, I mean, we beat this thing up already, but made of wood just sort of still is funny for me.
And the plastic knobs, I'd be concerned about it over time.
And if you did something stupid, like somebody, fell on it, I could see it having a real fatal type blow taken to it.
But you know what? If you keep using it the same way every time, and or just keep it one way for a while, it's probably just gonna pretty much stay latched down.
And as adaptable as it is, that's the reality. As sim racers, we're gonna get this thing to our driving position. We're gonna double lock these suckers down, and it's not gonna be moved. And if any of my friends fell on it or bumped it, I'd kill them anyway. So, and then the cost. It's very pricey compared to other wheel stands.
It kind of puts it. Sorry to interrupt you, but it kind of puts it out of the wheel stand.
Yeah.
Price point, because they're usually under $200.
And this puts you into some of the less expensive rig prices. You're still going to need a chair. Yep. I mean, with a desk chair that rolls around, I mean, it rolls around. That's not so good. I mean, we were able to use this chair, and well, you saw the varieties we tried, but you still need a chair to do it, and that adds to the price as well.
So, rev scale, and we're done.
Okay.
Why don't you tell them score?
I'm giving this a 10. This, despite the price, is the coolest wheel stand sim rig that I can think of this type of thing that you'd buy without coming with a seat.
Yeah, and I would go with a 9 just because of Sean's concern. Two things. The cost, I thought it was a little high, and I would worry about it a little over longevity, but I can't really tell because we've only had it for a week. But I guess that would be a concern, but I mean, a 9 is still A+ in my book. This is the best wheel stand we've ever tried.
So I guess we'll give it a 9.5.
Yeah, 9.5, right in the middle of the rev scale there. But yeah, but I'm 10 in some ways, and I just don't think it's perfect, but it's damn close. It's a great wheel stand. So great job, Steadiplay.
Yeah.
You can get it at steadiplay.com, and that's steady, STEADI, play, PLAY.com. for $359.99 shipped in the U.S. He will ship it internationally, but it's going to cost you a little bit extra, obviously. And he's got it for sale like through his Amazon store. So
Cool.
check it out. Tell him Inside Sim Racing sent you.
Hope you guys out there are enjoying the show. It's time for our top story, which is sponsored by RaceSimCentral.com.
The home of sim racing news and forums since the year 2000.
That's right, and we're putting this Lamborghini wheel and pedal set.
That's right, pedal set right here. Actually, don't these look a little familiar?
They look a little plasticky.
And they look Logitech Momo DFP DFGT-ish to me-ish.
This wheel-ish.
Yeah.
This wheel and pedal set is going on review on our hardware shabami.
That's right.
We first seen it over at E3, and we managed to get a contact there and get him into the studio.
Speaking of which, I'd like to thank Valentina at Atomic Accessories in Europe. I believe they're in Italy for hooking us up with this wheel. Just got here a couple days ago. And
we don't have a price point on this yet or know if it's available to the public.
I did a little searching, and I found it available. I think it was Amazon Europe. Like, I don't know, but it's not readily available.
We never really heard of it until we seen it over at E3.
Never heard of it.
We weren't able to try it. It was enclosed in a glass case. So we have it here now, ready to go on our hardware shabami. The guys are going to test it out. Here it is.
For all of your sim racing news and reviews, check out RaceSimCentral.com.
All right, we're here with the Lamborghini Gallardo force feedback wheel by Atomic Accessories and pedals. And like I mentioned, these pedals look just like the Logitech pedals, wouldn't you say, Sean?
Yeah, they do. They feel like there's adequate pedals. I mean, they're going to get the job done. There's not a complaint. There's actually a decent amount of brake pressure. So I mean, they're minimalistic but worthy.
And this 270 degrees of rotation, 10-inch or 26 centimeters in diameter. Comes with 12 buttons, 8-way D-pad. You know, all the standard stuff, I would say. PS3, PS2, PC compatible, and I'm probably being redundant to some of the things that were said earlier.
Well, and I'd throw an ish on that compatible word.
Yeah, me too. So I'm just going to jump right into the pros and cons, and then that'll lead into some discussion about this wheel and pedal set.
All right.
First of all, I'll start with the pros. Full GT5 Prologue. We haven't tried it with full Gran Turismo, but full GT5 Prologue compatibility. Everything worked fine. Good force feedback, and I'd say it's a good Gran Turismo 5 Prologue wheel.
Absolutely, I enjoyed it quite a bit. For me, whenever I go to Gran Turismo, it takes a little adjustment for me for some reason. Once I got dialed in, though, this is a fine wheel for that sim.
Speaking of PS3, good starter wheel for the PS3 owner. It definitely gets the job done. Didn't try it on anything but Prologue, but I would imagine it works on anything that is force feedback compatible on the PS3.
Sure.
Again, decent force feedback on the PS3.
Yes.
And we'll get to the cons about the PC force feedback. Buttons, both of us really like the button configuration and just how they were.
I like the 4 buttons instead of a D-pad. It's super positive. It's easy for me to get the button I want and not mishit the other one. 2
buttons behind the wheel, which were nice, located right up behind this bump or knob, or you could say, I guess, right on the wheel.
And that's cool too. They're mapped the same as the shifters. So I was shifting with those, and even though it's not super authentic, it was very quick.
Yep. And so that's it for the pros.
I'll throw another pro. This actually does look just like the Lamborghini wheel. So it's kind of cool looking wheel. I didn't know Lamborghinis actually had the metal at the bottom, but I looked it up, and that's what they look like.
Sure enough. Speaking of Lamborghini, it's the LP560-4 Gallardo.
Okay.
So that's the wheel and pedal set. And now let's get to the cons. No true PC force feedback. And it did work on XP. We didn't have a Vista machine here, but we had an XP machine. I did get it to work on XP with minimal force feedback, some chatter going over the rumbles. Didn't really feel much pull. Got it to work with R-Factor and GTR2. Could not get the force feedback to work on a Windows 7 machine. I tried on 2 different machines, and I could not get it to work.
Right.
The wheel worked. everything mapped fine.
Right.
No force feedback.
Yeah.
So that plastic clamp, the clamping mechanism is probably the worst I've seen on any wheel.
But don't forget the suction cups.
It's got some really hefty suction cups on there, so.
So if you're mounting it to your window,
Yeah.
little spit on there.
Yeah, be good to go. 270 degrees of rotation, as you can see here. That's max rotation there. And compared to a DFGT or an F430, you know the Logitech or even the upcoming Carrera wheel, from Fanatic.
Ooh.
This thing is overpriced. Going for
Yeah.
they told me the suggested retail is about 109 euro. Not available yet in the U.S., but that's pricey for this wheel. If this thing came in at about 50 euro, I could recommend it, but at 109 euro going up against the DFGT or the Thrustmaster or the Carrera, I can't really give it a thumbs up.
I can't either. I mean, as a real hardcore sim racer, there's no way this is going to be acceptable.
Yeah, like I mentioned, not a good hardcore sim racing wheel. Mainly two things, because of the mounting, and just because unless you're using an older system,
Yeah.
there's no true force feedback. Gran Turismo wheel, you want to just check it out, what Gran Turismo is all about, and you don't want to go all out, and it might make for a good wheel.
And you like Lamborghinis?
Yep.
The other thing, I'm going to say Atomic, they're not terribly far off. I mean, this definitely has a lot of things that need to be improved, but it's something to work from.
It's I would agree with you there. It's a decent out-of-the-gate wheel.
Yeah, so give it a better mounting mechanism, and take care of a few other the little bugs, and I mean, give it some drivers, which maybe this one could even be corrected with an updated driver set. But it could be a cool wheel for sure, or certainly compete with those others you listed.
I definitely agree with that. So why don't you give them the Shabami scores?
All right, these are the Shabami scores, and it kind of got Shabami. In force feedback, it got an 8 out of 15. In the wheel rim, it got 11 out of 15. The pedals got 10.5 out of 15. Buttons, 8 out of 10. Mounting, 3 out of 10. Compatibility, 5.5 out of 10. Paddles, 5 out of 10. Cost, 2 out of 5. Construction, 2.25 out of 5. Plug and play, 2 3/4 out of 5, giving it a total of 58 out of 100.
Yeah, and a lot of scores it just whittled away at that overall. The paddles, just really cheesy plastic. I can imagine over time one of these are going to break off.
Yes.
The wheel rim actually kind of saved it a little bit here and there, because I kind of like the shape, but
I do too. It's smaller, so I can get my hands around, but it is ergonomic. So I like the comfort factor there.
force feedback, it got saved by the PlayStation 3 because
Definitely.
it had good force feedback on the PlayStation 3 and was plug and playable on the PlayStation 3.
Mm-hmm.
Now on the I had some messing around to do on the PC. Even though the drivers and everything worked, again on the Windows 7, I was messing around for a while trying to figure out if it was a problem on my end, and in fact it was. I don't know. They claimed the driver was compatible, but it just didn't work out for me.
Yeah.
By the way, Marco has been my contact there. Man, I apologize for beating up your wheel. You guys did a pretty good job first out of the gate, but going against Logitech, Fanatic, and those guys.
Yeah. Well, and the cost. Because of the cost, it put it into the category of some of the best wheels made, and they're not delivering as much for the same money.
Yep. And you can get it in Amazon Europe if you guys are interested. For those, again, that are just starting out. Hardcore PC guys, turn your head, sorry to say. Don't look at this wheel. Unless you want something for your kid.
Yeah.
To get started in Gran Turismo, you got a PS3 and wants to check out Gran Turismo. You don't want to spend, you can find one cheap here in the US, or in Europe you can find one cheap.
Yeah.
Can't find one in the US yet, but
I'll give it a little bit of sexy factor too, and sometimes it's sexy that draws people into sim racing. So if it's the fact that somebody can buy a Lamborghini that makes them buy it and start sim racing, then kudos to them for that.
yeah, I agree with you. So that's going to do it. Anything else you can think of before we go out with this?
No, I think I'm all done with this one.
Yeah. Again, no offense. Sorry, Atomic. We really appreciate you sending your wheel to us, but just not going to cut it on the Shabami.
I'm dying to see the next one, so I
Me too.
encourage
Stay
them.
with it, man. Don't give up. You guys, some improvements to this thing, and maybe it'll get into the 70s, 80s next time.
Yep.
That's going to do it. Thanks again for sending it to us. For Sean, I'm Darren. We're out of here.
So the Lamborghini wheel didn't hold up so well on our Shabami.
No, it did not.
It's very toy-like.
Yeah, it's definitely toy-like. I'm not sure where. I mean, Gran Turismo owners, I guess, is all they're going for, but yeah, it definitely didn't hold up compared to the Porsche and the Ferrari and the other stuff we've done on the show, it doesn't cut it.
Sorry. That's going to wrap up today's show. We hope that you guys have enjoyed it. Coming up, we have the GT Omega racing rig.
That's right. Also, going to show you guys how to make this tack work on your racing rigs.
That's a real tack, by the way.
That's right. And check out the wires here. So we're going to use a rev burner. I'd like to thank them for sending us one, so we're going to show you guys that.
A lot of new titles coming out in September, including F1 2010, Test Drive Unlimited 2. So we should be quite busy in the next couple months here.
Very busy.
So stay tuned. Make sure you check out our forum over at racesimcentral.com, where we have been blogging daily.
That's right.
Keep up to date on all your sim racing news and reviews and products and so on and so forth. Visit our website, insidesimracing.tv, and you can visit our forums there, as well as purchase a lot of the products that you see on the show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
You're on a roll.
I am. Sorry to be telling everyone.
Let's
Go to
get
this
outta here.
website. Go to this website. That's about it. Checker flag is out, and so are we. Hope you guys out there. Don't use that. You're gonna use it for your Krusty the Clown laugh. I love your laugh. You're gonna say Krusty the Clown. Okay.